Today we're going to settle the age-old question that I've been getting asked. What SUV should I buy? Let's get started. This is a 2015 Toyota 4Runner Limited with a 4-liter V6 in it. The customer just purchased it and they'd like it checked over to see does it need anything done to it. You can expect when you buy any used car that it's probably going to need something done to it. Whether it be an oil change, a set of brake pads, a serpentine belt, it's going to need something.
You mean like the whole hydraulic system on a certain Citroen you bought?
Yes, that needs a lot more than this is ever going to need. This is the first time I've had one of these newer generation 4Runners in the shop because they're that good. They just don't break. We'll take a look around this one. This one looks really, really nice. It has kind of the pearl white paint. It's in very good condition with only 70,000 miles on it. And then we're going to answer some questions that you guys have been having. Let's go ahead and take a look around this thing. So here is the beautiful front of this thing. I see a lot of styling cues on these, like an LR3 or an LR4, kind of a Land Rover look. Some of the earlier 4Runners have a decent look to this one, but I think they really knocked it out of the park on these. As we go down the side here, you can see it has high shoulders, really big wheels. I think they're at 19 or 20s. Let's take a look. These are 20s. We're not going to find any damage on this car, but I wanted to show you guys the styling is really cool on this one. Actually on all of these. You can see it has a pearl color to the paint. That's probably part of the limited package, as it says on the side there. It's limited. Has kind of like a spoiler up here. That's kind of to stop what's called the station wagon effect, the swirling of dirt and stuff back here that constantly coats the back of SUVs and station wagons. Obviously has the towing package. I kind of like the LED lights here, and it really has a really nice design to it. And again, down this side, it looks like a brand new car. I mean, I just wanted to show you guys, again, the styling. There's really nothing wrong with this vehicle. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here is our venerable 4-liter V6. And this thing has 270 horsepower and almost 280 pound-feet of torque. It's a 4-liter V6. It's almost got the power of a 96 Camaro Z28 with a 350, 5.7 liter. Take our little cover off. You can see under there, the intake is kind of a folded manifold, and the cover actually sits on the driver's side of the engine. But again, everything's fairly easy to get to. It's not hard to work on. There's plenty of room in the front of the engine if you had to change a belt or do a water pump or change out this fan. There's plenty of room. It's not jam-packed in here and really difficult to get to anything. Again, it is a Toyota, so that's to be expected. So nothing wrong under here. There's no check engine light. There's nothing going on. It's really, really clean under the hood. Let's go ahead and hop into the interior. I think the interior is really nice on these vehicles. Let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around.
There we go, ladies and gents. 70,640 miles. That's it. And no, those lights aren't real. No, the battery's not bad. The check-in, no, it's just actually Toyota proving that they do have those lights and they do work, but we're in auxiliary mode, so, well, that don't mean anything. If we look up here at the dash, it's really nice. They do have a very long extension for their cell phone to make it, I guess, easier to see. And I guess their patron saint is Hank Williams Jr. because he's hanging down from the rear view mirror. Well, if we move down, we'll see, again, lots more dashes in great condition. Got some nice wood trim over there. Have our radio here with a nice small infotainment system, but it works well. Got a nice HVAC system, easy controls. If you scroll down, you'll see just a nice gear selector with more wood trim on there, and lots of little hidey holes for pens and coins and cups and everything else we seem to keep in our car. We do have an adjustment for our four-wheel drive system in there as well. We do have perforated leather seats, and they are heated. Considering this is in auxiliary mode, my heated seat is working quite nicely. I may not want to leave. But again, looking good. Nice bolster on the side. Door has some nice accents with aluminum metal on there as well. No wood on the door, but it doesn't need it. It looks really good. The controls for the window are up high, very much like you would find on a Land Rover. In the back seat, you can see that we have the armrest down and has a nice little hidden cup holder there. We move over, there's cup holder, high cup holder. And if we can look, we can see that the seats do slide. They are on rails, so they can adjust to either, well, I guess, give more space in the back or not. If we look way in the back, we'll see that there is a third row seat back there. There are seat belts. And so we can get a lot of people in here, and that sliding seat, moving it forward, would make it easier to crawl back into that space. The headliner looks really nice in this car. If you look, it has kind of a raised area in that back section, which probably helps for those people in that third row seat. But again, no marks, no blemishes, no tears, no sags. So as we end up at our steering wheel, like we always do, lovely Toyota symbol in that center to make sure we know what we are driving. But again, nice, simple controls, phone controls, radio controls, everything we need to make this trip in the car as easy as possible while we're trying to focus on what's going on in front of us. So enough of this interior talk. Let's get this baby up in the air and see if there's any leaks going on underneath.
So far, the most annoying thing is to get this thing on the lift, which is not the car's fault. I'm getting too old, I think, at getting up and down all the time. Let's go ahead and take a look at our core support area. You can see right up and through here is our radiator and our condenser. Everything's nice and dry. You're definitely getting a quality product with a Toyota. You can tell with the belly pans is they're metal. There is some plastic, but some of the serious ones are metal. None of that cheap plastic stuff. Nothing going on, no leaks here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the wheels and brakes. It's had recent pads put on, they're brand new. Nothing loose there. The strut is dry. Everything's good there. Nice new pads. Sway bar link is good, strut is dry, front CV boots are good, everything's tight there. Here's our transmission. We can look up through there. The oil pan is nice and dry, the transmission is nice and dry. It looks like they've driven it on some dirt roads. It's got some sand or rocks, but that's kind of what this thing's made for. Here's our front drive shaft. Everything's good there. Here's our transfer case. No leaks, no issues going on there. Here's our rear drive shaft. Everything looks good. And again, here's our skid plates or belly pans for the actual fuel tank. And again, not cheap plastic, metal. And what looks like rust is possibly Oklahoma dirt. It's red. It just flakes off. But anyways, that's just dirt. This drive shaft is good back here. Here's our rear axle, which has a third member style differential, which means that you could take this out and replace the gear set without doing too much tear down inside of it. Our shock is nice and dry. Pads are new in the back. Nothing loose there. Pads are new. Shock is dry. Nothing moving here. And the last thing we'll check is the tires, the date code. These tires aren't even 6 months old. You can see here the 44th week of 2022. Some nice Cooper Discoverers, very nice tires. So we found nothing. Let's go ahead and get this thing back on the ground. So the only thing this really nice 4Runner needs is an undercarriage wash to wash the dirt and things off the bottom. But the question is asked, did they do good on their purchase? Absolutely, 100%. This is a very, very nice vehicle. I get asked all the time, I'm looking at this car, I'm looking at this SUV, a GMC Acadia, a Terrain, and all these Buick Enclave, Excursions, Expeditions. What kind of SUV should I buy? Sitting right here on all four wheels is the answer, a Toyota 4Runner. Now keep in mind, if you find one of these and you ask me through email, is this a good buy or is this in good condition? I don't know, I'm not there. You should take it to your local mechanic and verify that it is in good condition. But if it is, these are a guaranteed buy. They are really, really good. It's got 70,000 miles. You can easily go another 200, maybe even 250 on top of the 70. They are that good. And like I mentioned on the engine, 270 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. That's small block Chevy V8 power in a V6. So I wouldn't want no V6, they ain't got no power. This thing has lots of power, really good power. So they're definitely not underpowered. They have plenty of power. They use this engine in the FJ Cruisers. They use them in several different vehicles, and they're very, very good. Also in the Tacomas and things. Now, when you're on the lot, you're ready to buy that next SUV in this year range, 2014, 15, 16. You say, okay, I've got this much of a budget. Let's go take a look at the 4Runners. Wizard says that's what we should buy. You need to keep in mind that this is what you're going to see. A 2015 4Runner similar to this one is going to run you at least $30,000, if not $35,000 or more. When you're shopping and you see Toyotas, I always get the same response. There's so much more money. You're dang right they are. Because they are for a reason. The dealers know these things are bulletproof. They are the top level quality SUV that you can buy on earth. And being that's the case, they're not going to give you a super cheap deal on one of these. You might get this one down that I just showed you, 34, 33 in that range. They're not going to come down very much more because the demand on these is so high, they don't have to. Now you're walking on the lot, you're continuing to look around, and you find this. A 2015, same year model, GMC Acadia for $16,000 roughly. This is where you get into trouble. Huge trouble. You show up on Monday, Car Wizard, I know you said to get a Toyota, but the Acadia was literally half price. You will spend the remainder of what the value of this is in repairs over the next 5 years between transmissions, the piece of crap 3.6 engine that's going to go bad on you, timing chains, that's going to cost you $5,000 or $6,000. And the transmission goes out, that's going to be $4,000. You're going to have actuator issues in the dash, electrical problems. Everyone that I've ever known that owned one of those vehicles, the Acadias, has told me at the end of the ownership, I wish I never bought this car. I got it at a good deal, but I realized years later, I actually did not get a good deal at all. This is a good deal. Up front, you will spend way more money. But you can drive this vehicle for a long, long time without no headaches of being in the shop every 3 months. One thing to keep in mind as well is the Acadia will last half as long as this one. So you got half the price and you got half the lifespan. These 4Runners, you can get them in the early 80s. They made them in the late 80s. They're still running today. People out in Tennessee or out in the Appalachian Mountains, they use these things all over the place and beat the crap out of them, and they just keep going. They're not using Acadias. Now, if you're looking for something fun and sporty, you want to get a Porsche Cayenne or a Maserati Levante or a Porsche Macan or something like that, Alfa Romeo Stelvio, even a BMW X5 or X6 or something like that. Obviously, they're going to be much nicer and stylish than this. They're also going to cost probably double, but you're definitely not going to get this reliability. They're worse than an Acadia. And when they do break, it's going to be double what you think it's going to be. You just have to kind of gamble. How much money can I afford? What do I expect out of this vehicle? And if I want to cheap out and go the cheaper route on a vehicle, can I afford the repairs? So just like in the video that you guys just saw on the Hyundai Sonata that is now in the junkyard, you still have to do maintenance on these. You still have to change the oil. You still have to take care of brakes and tires and things of that nature. They still have to be maintained. But it's very likely that it's not going to leave you stranded, and the repairs are going to be few and far between. Not every 3 months, but maybe once a year or once every 2 years, which is nothing. I see these around town, and reliability aside, they actually look really nice. I think whoever designed these did an excellent job. It looks almost as stylish as like an LR4 or something. They really did really good job on these. I like them a lot. I could see Mrs. Wizard driving one, but she likes her Maserati too much.
I really do.
So don't argue with me when I get an email and you say, what kind of SUV should I buy? And I recommend one of these. And you say, that's not within my budget. I'm going to say maybe a different year range. Maybe go back to 05, 07, 08. These will have the price down, maybe in the price that you can afford, but it's still a nice 4Runner. But again, there's so many vehicles out there. You've seen some of my videos of vehicles that are bad. You could really make a bad choice. I'm telling you today, this is a good choice. This is the answer to the question, what SUV should I buy? This one. There's a lot of SUVs on the market that don't make it to 150, 175,000, and they're done. It's over. This one will very likely make it to 300,000 and possibly even still be on the road. So keep that in mind when you're shopping for an SUV. If you're curious what kind of tools that we're not going to use to work on this because it's not broken, but some of the other cars in the shop that are, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button because there's many more cool videos for you guys coming down the road, and this customer did a very good job on their purchase. Thanks for watching.